to this video. In the second part of the video, remember we started out in the first video um, with um, a plan to develop a responsive navigation bar. All right, so uh, in this video we're going to continue. In the first video we completed our HTML structure. All right, so in this video we are going to go ahead and start styling it. All right, so just to bring us up to speed, I just want to remind us this is actually what we are working on building. We are building this responsive navigation bar so that on the web, on the mobile view, that's smaller screens, we have our logo on the left and we have our our hamburger menu, toggle menu on the right. And on larger screens we have our logo still on the left, then we have an expanded navigation bar with all our links visible, and then the authentication buttons, login and registration. But I'm going to change this login and registration to sign in and sign up so that we maintain the same size of buttons. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to pull up my VS Code so you can see. All right, so this is our index.html file, and you see from the last video we're able to completely structure our index.html file. So I'm going to go live on this HTML file so that you can see in the browser what it looks like up till now. All right, we'll look at what it looks like up till now. Very important. All right, so let's see. All right, hold on. Let's see. Hold on a bit. Okay, so here is it in the browser. You can see how it is. This is exactly what we have right now. All right, based on our index.html. All right, so based on our index.html file, remember we created our header element in the body, and our responsive navigation is actually going to be wrapped inside a header element with a class name of main header. And inside the header we have a div that is holding our logo text. We have our actual toggle component, which is an input element of the type checkbox with an ID of toggle, and it is set to hidden because if you look at the design, it's actually not supposed to display. All right, we are not supposed to have any input displayed in the mobile view. All right, so after that we have our label. So this label is actually what we are going to use to style our icon. All right, to style this very hamburger icon. Three stripes there. Excellent. So, and then finally we now have our navigation. So this is our navigation that has our links. You see the links: home, about, and contact us. And then of course we have our sign in and sign up. You remember I said I was going to change it from login and register to sign in and sign up. All right, and also we have a duplicate sign in and sign up that will only appear at the larger screens. All right, so with this all set up, let's go ahead and begin styling. So I created an index.css file in my project folder, and I'm going to open that file now. Right now we have absolutely no index. We don't have any CSS. Of course, we don't have any styles. So I linked it. Remember, I linked it in the last video. I also linked it here. So all you need to link it is to actually create. Let me do that again. Just create a link element. All right. Hit enter, type link and hit enter, and then you can literally just type in, because the CSS is staying in exactly the same root folder as my HTML file. So I can just type the name. But of course, if it's staying in another subfolder, you would have to provide the relative path. All right, so for now we have successfully linked our CSS. All right, but our CSS file is literally empty. So we're going to begin our stylings. Now, one of the things I like to do is to remove all default margins and padding. So I'm going to use the universal selector, which is an asterisk, Then I'm going to set all margins to be by default 0 and paddings also to be by default 0. Then I'll set a box sizing property to border box to ensure that all my widths, all my element widths always remain as I specify. Then the next thing I'm going to style the main header. All right, remember the main header is our ultimate wrapper for our navigation. All right, so I'm going to style the main header, and I'm just going to give it a display of flex. All right, I'll give it a display of flex for now, and immediately I do that, just observe what happens. All right, so immediately I do that, you see that all our elements are now laid side by side in the horizontal row, in a horizontal plane, instead of the vertical top to bottom plane. So that's what flex does. All right, so what we're going to do, if you look at our design once more, you see that the only elements that are visible are the logo and the menu icon. All right, the menu icon or the hamburger icon. All right, so those are the only elements that we're going to preserve. Every other element on the mobile view is going to be out of the screen. They will not display by default. So let's start taking them out one by one. All right, so remember we already took out the input element. All right, this is the input element. If you remember from the last video, the input element is here. So with this hidden attribute, it's taken off. Let me take that off one more time, and you see the browser and you see that the input element is back here. So you see that input toggle element, see it there displayed. All right, so I just clicked on it. Let me click on it one more time. Okay, my browser is a bit slow. Let me refresh. So that's going to serve as our toggle element. All right, it's going to serve as our toggle element. My browser is acting a bit weird, so it's supposed to be there. All right, so it's acting a bit weird. I don't know, it's probably okay. Let me check one more time. That's the input element toggle. All right, good. So let me put some text, some span text in the label. All right, so once I put the span text, that will display. Let me refresh this. It's supposed to display. Yeah, there it is. All right, so once I click on the span text, you see that the toggle is actually working. All right, excellent, fantastic. So but we don't want this checkbox to be displayed by default. In fact, we don't want it displayed at all because it's not part of our design. So I'm going to set it to a hidden property, hidden attribute, and that will automatically take it out of our screen. So there it is, no longer there. The next thing that needs to leave is this navigation. This navigation bar needs to go as well. All right, so we are going to take that out as well. So hold on. Okay, so we are going to take out the navigation because it's not supposed to be displayed in the mobile view at all. So I'll go to the CSS, then I'm going to use the class selector Navbar, which is the name of the class. All right, my system needs to respond. All right, so I'm going to do that, Navbar. All right, so with the Navbar class selector, I'm going to first of all put a position property on the navigation. All right, so I'm going to explain why this is necessary. I'll set it to a position fixed so that I have my navigation in the mobile view fixed. It's not statically positioned, it's fixed so that I have better control over it. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to take control of the top, bottom, left, and right properties. Because it's positioned, I can do that. So I'm going to set the top property to 0, the bottom to 0 as well, because we don't want any space at the bottom and top. Same thing with the left. We don't want any spaces on the left as well. And finally on the right, we don't want any spaces on the right. So I'll set all of that to 0. Now the very next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a background color. All right, we'll do a background color on it, and we'll give it a background color of black. Actually, we're subsequently going to make it look a bit more transparent. all right, because we don't want it entirely black. We'll make it a bit more transparent, but for now we're going to make it black. Then because it's positioned, it means that it's out of the usual flow of elements in the browser or in the browser page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a Z index on it so that I can control how it stacks. All right, how it stacks. I'll give it a Z index of 100. All right. So let's see what this looks like right now in our browser. Fantastic. So if you see, it's all black on our browser right now. And you can see these tiny bitty links here. These links are actually the anchor links for our nav list. All right. The links home, about, contact, and sign in, sign up, because they are inside the Navbar. All right. So the next thing we are going to do is we are also going to style the nav list. All right. We have a nav list. I'm going to put that up in a minute so that you see in the HTML. You can see that in the navigation we actually have a nav list, and the class name is nav list. So I'm going to do some quick styles to it. All right. So first thing, we're also going to position it. All right. So we're going to position it absolute so that it's relative to its container, the navbar. So we'll position it absolute. All right. Absolute. All right. So it's absolutely positioned. So that also means we now have access to its top, property, bottom, 0, sorry, yep, right, 0, all right, right, 0 as well, and the left will now put it at 25%. All right, so we don't want it covering like the nav. We don't want it to cover the entire screen. All right, so we will also give it a background color, a background color of Alice blue, which is something light. All right, then also let's see what it looks like right now. So you can see up the top of my screen that we have our nav list having a white background and the navigation covering the entire screen with a black background. So right now, if you look at this carefully, you see that our links have an underline and the LIs have a list item, which is like a circle. So let me take off the black background off the navbar, so you see what I'm talking about, some dots as a result of the list. See, those are the black dots. So we don't want any of those dots. So what we're going to do is in our li elements, all right, so let me just put it in the nav item, because nav item is the li element. Nav item, we're going to set our list style property, which controls the dots, to none. All right, so none. So once we do that, we no longer have those dots. All right, voila, the dots are gone. So then also our nav links, remember our nav links are the anchor links. So let me go back to the HTML so you can see it. So these are our anchor links and they have a class name of nav link. So I'm also going to take out the text decoration because that controls the underline. All right, and we don't want any of that, so that we have our clean links. So going back to the browser one more time. Fantastic. So we have successfully cleaned out the list style and the text decoration. But if you look critically, our navigation list is home, about, and contact. They are butting against the container, the nav list container, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do, let's put back our background for the nav bar. Let's set it back to black. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some padding to our nav list. So first, let's do a padding left. So padding left will be like 1 rem, which is roughly 16 pixels. Then I'll duplicate this and set this to padding top. So for padding top, we'll have like 2 rem. So this allows some space around our links. Excellent. So this is the space we have around our links. Also, we are going to set our nav links to a color of black so that they look more contrasting. So I'm going to set that to black. All right. Then also for the nav items, we will set a margin top, or let's say margin block, because that will affect top and bottom at the same time of 1 rem. So we have some space. All right, excellent. So we have this. Excellent, fantastic. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move out our navigation. We don't want our nav bar entirely in the default. If you remember our design by default, we don't have our navigation displaying. So let's just go ahead and take care of that. So what we will do to take off our navigation by default is to use a property called transform. So with the property transform, we are going to use a function translate x, which will help us to move away our navigation entirely with its content off the screen. All right, so that by default it's not visible. So, and we're also going to add a transition so that we kind of control the movement so it's not entirely too fast. All right, we'll make it a bit smoother. So the transition will be on the transform property, and we will do that for, let's say, 500 ms. We will do a transition of in, is out. That's a transition pattern. Then we will also use a function, a timing function, Bezier timing function. All right. Cubic Bezier, actually, cubic Bezier timing function. All right, there it is. So I'm going to select one of these ones here. All right, so I'm going to use that one for now. We can modify it later. So we are going to transform. We have done a transform property and set it to translate x. So this will move our navigation out of the way. So excellent. Once you see the screen now, we no longer have our navigation, but we still have the sign in and sign up, and those are also not supposed to be visible by default on the mobile screen. So we're going to take those out. So that sign in and sign up is actually controlled by the div log register header, log reg header. So I'll copy that class, go way down, then set that class to display none so that it's not visible by default. All right, so I'll do a display none there. Excellent. So once we do that, that sign in and sign out is off. Excellent. So we're getting closer and closer to our design. So if you look at this, we now have just 2 elements. We have the logo and the span. But if you look at the design, we actually are not supposed to have a text span. Rather, we're supposed to have the 3 stripes hamburger icon. All right. So let's go ahead and remove the text span and then begin styling our hamburger. So we are going to do that in the next video. In the next video, we are going to go ahead and start styling our hamburger. All right. So that's what we are going to do in the next video. All right. So see you in the next video. Thank you.